Fellas, finally UFC 295, Aspinall versus Pavlovich, Yuri versus Alex Pereira. We're only going to be doing predictions for the co-main and main event because I think the main, let's be honest, this main event and co-main event is some of the best main and co-main event we've had in a while. The rest of the card's alright. We've got a decent fight with Benmore Saint Denis versus Matt Frivola. We've got Diego Lopez fighting, but we're going to be focusing on this main and co-main event. I think Aspinall versus Pavlovich is better than Jones versus Miocic. I think that's a popular opinion among MMA fans because it is the new breed of heavyweight, the two best in the division right now, in my opinion, because it's definitely not Stipe Miocic, to be honest with you. But we're going to be doing the predictions. Let me know your predictions down below. Let me know if you agree with these predictions for the co-main and main event because they're both genuinely like 50-50 fights. But the first fight, Tom Aspinall versus Sergey Pavlovich. This is, as an Aspinall fan, it is genuinely terrifying. Going against Sergey Pavlovich out of all the heavyweights we've got. You know, we've got Cyril Gane, we've got Gelton Almeida. But out of all the heavyweights, Sergey Pavlovich is the most terrifying heavyweight you can go against. I mean, look at him. He's literally built like a refrigerator, but he's got six first round knockout streak. I can't speak. Let's forget about it, whatever it is. But anyway, both of them can finish fights pretty quickly is what I'm trying to say. But it's a genuine 50-50 fight. I feel like it's split into two things. Aspinall's got the grappling and the speed. Obviously, he's out-grappled some amazing opponents. The thing that he did to Volkov, the out-grappling he did to Volkov, he was able to hold his own against Sergey Spivak. Whereas Sergey Pavlovich is more a power and accuracy type of guy. Obviously, I'm not going to go over that again, but he's on a winning streak. He's accurate. He's got some long reach as well. Hits pretty hard for a heavyweight as well. So he's genuinely just split into two things between accuracy, speed, power, grappling. Aspinall, I'd say, has the speed advantage as well because Pavlovich, although he is pretty quick for a heavyweight, he's also quite ploddy. I feel like Aspinall's movement allows him to be a lot faster. He moves like a welterweight. Aspinall genuinely moves like a welterweight, but as an Aspinall fan, Aspinall's got to get it done. I feel like Aspinall has to get it done, so I'm going to go Tom Aspinall winning this fight by first or second round submission or ground and pound. And I say that because the one time we've seen Sergey Pavlovich, why am I still talking about Spivak? Who's he? Anyway, the one time we've seen Pavlovich deal with grappling against Overeem was also the one time that he lost by stoppage. And Aspinall's a smart guy. I'm a smart guy, you know. I'm not going to go out there and trade with him. I'm going to go out there and grapple with him. But no, Aspinall's a smart guy. He's not just going to stand and strike with him like Curtis Blades. I don't know what's up with him. Aspinall's going to go out there and he's going to try and take him down. I know it's the obvious thing that's going to happen, but that's what he has to do. You can't trade with Sergey Pavlovich. And on top of that, Aspinall does tend to leave his chin kind of wide open. It's a theme across British fighters. Aspinall does tend to leave his chin open, and that scares me when you're fighting Pavlovich. But I feel like Aspinall's definitely going to be able to out-grapple him. He's one of the best grapplers in the division. If he takes Pavlovich down, and people keep going with the theme that, if Aspinall doesn't take Pavlovich down, he's finished. Well, how about if Aspinall takes Pavlovich down, then Pavlovich is finished? Like, it works both ways for both of them. But the thing that edges me towards Aspinall winning the fight is that Aspinall isn't done if Pavlovich is on the ground, if Pavlovich is on the feet with him. Because Aspinall's still a good striker. I think he uses his kicks a lot more than Pavlovich does. He's still a good boxer. He hits pretty hard. I'd say he has the speed advantage. He's got fight IQ, good fight IQ as well. He's also on a finishing streak as well. All of his past 6 fights have all been stopped in the first or second round. I'm not going to count the Curtis Blades fight because it was an injury, even though that did stop in the first round as well. But I know that Pavlovich does have a Greco-Roman wrestling history, but Aspinall, for me, from what I've seen in the UFC, he's a better grappler than Pavlovich. So Aspinall's going to have to mix it up. But this fight, I don't think it can possibly go past the second round. If this fight goes past the second round, I might even consider deleting my channel because of what is going on with this MMA universe. I'm going to go out with Aspinall winning this. I'm probably going to go Aspinall. Maybe Parker Porter can come in and cash in his money in the bank, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going with Aspinall. Even though there's a lot of people edging towards Pavlovich winning the fight, and he's a terrifying heavyweight. If I was an Aspinall, I am an Aspinall fan, but if I was a Pavlovich fan, of course I'd be saying that Pavlovich is going to win. But from a Tom Aspinall fan standpoint, I think Pavlovich is just terrifying. He's got terrifying power, and for that reason, we can't just leave it to Aspinall. We've got to manifest this. Adesanya manifested it at UFC 290. Adesanya manifested Aspinall winning by submission, and that's what I'm going to do too. I'm manifesting Tom Aspinall beating Pavlovich. He's going to beat Pavlovich at UFC 295. Mythical NPC Aspinall is going to go out there. He's not going to get clipped. He's going to do... He's gonna slip the right hand of Pavlovich, shoot for a double leg, get a Kimura lock, and he's gonna submit Pavlovich, and it's gonna be great because we're gonna have another British champion in the UFC, another British champion, and it is for the interim belt. But let's be honest, right? Even though it might be for the interim belt, it's gonna get changed to the proper belt. What is it? The undisputed belt after Jones versus Miocic happens. So I genuinely feel whoever wins this fight will be the next heavyweight champion of the world. So Aspinall, go out there, smoke Pavlovich, and listen, I don't hate Pavlovich, he's a nice guy and stuff, but we've got to get Aspinall to win this fight. Anyway, enough about the co-main event. It is a banger, it's one of the best heavyweight matchups, but then we go to we got to go Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. Now, this is honestly my fantasy matchup for the light heavyweight division. I've been asked to do fantasy matchups in the past, and if I was to create a pitch-perfect fantasy matchup in the light heavyweight division, it is Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka. 100%. They're best strikers in the division, in my opinion, up there with Jamal Hill. I want to see Jamal Hill fight him when he comes back, but they're both just insane strikers. We've got Pereira, who's one of the scariest, if not the scariest fighter in the UFC. He's got the left touch of death, the left hand of death. And then we've got Yuri Prochazka, who's one of the most crafty strikers in the UFC right now. I mean, he's got one of the best knockouts in the UFC against Dominic Reyes, so it's a really close fight. It's really close. Grappling advantage, I'm going to have to give it to Yuri, but Alex Pereira has been training with Glover Teixeira, so maybe for all we know, Alex Pereira's a new mythical grappler, but I don't think there's going to be much grappling in this matchup. If Yuri Prochazka does instigate the grappling, Pereira was able to hold his own against Blachowicz in the second and third round, and that was in Salt Lake City as well. And for me, Blachowicz is a better pure wrestler than Yuri, so I don't think Yuri's going to be able to do much unless he pulls off a submission out of nowhere like he did with Glover. Striking-wise, that's where it becomes interesting, but I think Pereira will be able to catch Yuri in the later rounds. I think the first three are going to be a scrap, potentially even a round one to Yuri, because like I said, they're both just insane. Like, I can't see one dominating the other, but if we're talking about in the fifth round, I feel like Pereira's definitely got more durability than Yuri Prochazka does. I don't think, like, we haven't really seen Alex Pereira slow down. We've definitely seen Yuri slow down. We've also seen Yuri get caught a lot by Glover Teixeira, and if we're seeing him get caught a lot by Glover, imagine what's going to happen when he gets caught by Alex Pereira is all I'm saying. Pereira, if he hits him with that left hand, I'm not sure what's going to happen to Yuri, but if I had to bet money on one of them, I'm going to go Pereira. I feel like he's going to be a much more adjusted to 205 as well. People like to, hate on Alex Pereira for the performance he did against Jan Blachowicz, but you've got to remember, that was his first ever fight at 205 in the UFC, and his grappling obviously wasn't as good as it could be now. So I feel like nowadays, he's much more adjusted to 205. His grappling's going to be way more improved. He's going to be much more of a well-rounded fighter, and he's going to have more time to prepare for Yuri Prochazka. So I'm going to go Alex Pereira with a left hand KO in round 4 or 5. But I could also, for some reason, see Yuri Prochazka pulling off some submission out of nowhere. But it's genuinely the most fantasy fight you can make at light heavyweight. I mean, the storyline between the Brazilian and the Czech, Gladiator versus Warrior, writes itself. The UFC completely wasted it by giving themselves this poster. They could have come up with a way better poster than that, I'm going to be honest. But either way, I'm going with Pereira winning this. Yeah, I think he's going to stop Yuri in the fourth or fifth round. And we're going to see Pereira versus Jamal Hill potentially after that. But I can't wait for UFC 295, man. The co-main event and the main event are some of the best we've seen. Let me know your predictions. Let me know your thoughts on the card. Come on, Aspinall, let's get this win. Bring it home to the UK. Thank you for watching.